This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we have a couple guests with us, two of our ops leaders out of our guild, AIE. They are Dent and Marcus, so we'll talk to them shortly, and they're going to come with us. They're going to talk about how it is, what it's like to run an ops team, what you need to be focused on, what you need to do, and we're also going to run Flashpoint while we do that. I think we're going to run Umbara. This broadcast astromech over here is EPC 243. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. Oh my gosh. We just finished MFN and we had mayhem on Tatooine. It was really fun. We went there to kill Republic commanders, and there was one guy who decided to take us on. There were about 19 of us, and oh my, he was all in.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out guns blazing, which he only lived a second, right? And then like another guy showed up and another guy showed up, and they had towards the end maybe 5 or 6. I mean, it was still, they were just royally outnumbered, but they kept coming, and I mean, kudos to them, and thank you for the achievements.
Yeah.
Because we all got achievements for killing them. But they were, they were doing some right stuff. They tried to focus the healers. It's just when you're only living for 10 seconds, it's hard, you can't do much with your focusing abilities, but yeah, it was it was really good. And then of course when we got our conquest target, because we had to kill 25 Republic guards, and it was time to get ready for the podcast, and we just all beamed up to the guild ship, so that was probably an unsatisfying ending for them, but
They can claim it as a
like
victory.
I
They
say,
drove us off.
yeah,
They,
they drove us off.
they were
That's exactly right.
outgunned two or three to one, and they drove us off and made us run away. So that can be their headcanon.
So that was the end of our evening. Before that, we had done a run of Karagas Palace, which gets us that nets a lot of conquest points on a week that that particular operation is on the list, which it is this week. So as a guild, we're about halfway to our target this week, which is medium. And yeah, last week in our ops team, we went and killed Isaacs thanks to the imp team the night before. The raid team the night before did not kill him, so we used their lockout, so we didn't have to kill the previous bosses, so that saved us some time. And then we went and finished off a lockout for Ravagers. So yeah, we were just playing on the backs of everyone last week.
We were
in our ops team,
standing on the shoulders of giants. I feel a little bad that we get to steal their lockout, but they can't steal ours because we're the latest one in the week. But
right. Right. I told them if they would just move their raid night to Friday, they could have our lockout.
Yeah, exactly.
But that, that's what we get for coming later in the week. So yeah, that was, and then let's see what else I've been doing. A little bit of leveling, but kind of a mix of conquest and leveling. So I've been trying to do some conquest stuff on my lower level characters. Like I dusted off my Sith warrior, which I hadn't played in a long time. And so I was like bouncing around with her and killing things. And I'm thinking, yeah, she might be my next one to get to 300 after my Sork. My Sork is about 2/3 of the way there. And yeah, it's been a fun week. So yeah, so how are things with you, Max?
Well, things are going good with me, and I'll get into that in a second. But first, I wanted to go to our guest. So, hey, Marcus. Marcus is a guildie that's been around for a while now. I keep thinking of these guys as Dent and Marcus. Marcus is sort of new, but they're really
they're
it's
newbies.
it's like years now. But for us, only 2 years that's pretty new.
Yeah, we measure in dog years or something.
Yeah, since now Star Wars has been around for what, four or five, and AIE's been around for 10. Yeah, I don't know what our problem is, but hey, Marcus, how's it been going, and what have you been up to?
Hey guys, thanks for having me on the show. Really busy with group content, but the main thing for me this past week was, everybody's talking about Conquest, and I always make a big deal that I don't do it. Well, VCavs and Zen got me to do it. And one night,
Nice.
It was late night, and Zen messaged me, and he made me a couple 246 relics. And he said, hey, meet me on the fleet in this corner of the fleet. And I said, all right, I'll come. He goes, hey, what specs are your companions? I'm like, or for your crafting? I was like, I don't know. he said, well, change it to this. And then all of a sudden he sends me all these things and he goes, okay, you have to do this. And then you have to do this. The next thing you know, I've crafted a bunch of stuff for Conquest. And he goes, now every week you have to do that. Oh, by the way, here are your 246 relics. Have a great night. And so he kind of threw me
That
into it. And then Rack Evan and Bishop, they dragged me through IOCath and what was the other one last week? Ilum.
Yep.
And we killed a bunch of things, and it was the first time I ever hit my conquest goal.
well, that's excellent.
Well, there you go.
That's nefarious, and I approve.
Yeah.
That is masterful.
And so other than that, a lot of ops. And this week, Nick and I are just getting ready for our next episode of our podcast, and we have another Star Wars: The Old Republic podcast host as a guest. So we're excited for it.
Excellent. So yeah, so I didn't do that full introduction when we started. Marcus is from Working Class Nerds podcast, as in addition to being an AIE guildie and hanging out with us all the time. So maybe we'll make sure to mention that at the end and put some pointers out to that because it's pretty cool.
And yeah.
Dent, how's it going, and what have you been up to?
Hey Max, hey Sigma. Well, it's been going pretty good. We my Monday night team, we started doing vet mode Terra from Beyond, so we're starting to work on progression on that. We got through the first boss after a couple of wipes, and then did one attempt on the second set of bosses, and got really close. So really proud of the team on that one.
I saw some
Nice.
achievements going out last night. That's pretty cool, and we should say you're the one Republic ops team that we have. So we have 3 on the Imperial side and 1 on the Republic side, which is bold move,
Yep,
God.
the
That's
Monday
messed
night,
up, man.
Monday night Republic team. It's we can't do anything for conquest usually on that night, so it's free reign, and we usually we're able to ride on the backs of anything's done on the previous week.
Cool.
So.
Yeah, well, that's it's a downside to it not being within the conquest window, but it sounds like maybe a little bit of an upside too, because then you can have more free reign to do whatever you want. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, because we're the last team to do a run, and I know a couple times your teams helped us out, especially when doing Valley of the Gods, getting us the lockouts to do Isaac's.
It was the least we could do because you guys have. There's always, if we need someone, on a Thursday night, you guys are always so good about helping us out there. So
Yes. Yeah, Dent has come and tanked for us before, and we've probably done everything for us. So that's awesome. So that's cool.
No, I've made the rounds on all the teams.
Yeah. We have a good amount of crossover and a lot of people that are certainly happy and willing to help out with anything, which is really cool. This week I did Conquest on 2 characters. I think 2, at least 2. And yes, it was a little bit of cheating and standing on the shoulders of giants to just finish off 2 operations real quick on our ops night, but I don't know, that was pretty fun. And I lived for once on the final explosion from Isaac's, which I was pretty happy about. Unreasonably happy about. And I did in doing Conquest, I did a little bit of everything. I did some GSF, I did some crafting, I did some gathering. Tonight this afternoon I was doing more Conquest, and I was doing it on a secondary character because I'm planning on getting 2 characters Conquest this week. So I was doing a chapter. I did the Mandalorian chapter today. I did a bunch of gathering while I was doing that because those sweet, sweet grade 9 mats were just littered all over Denova. And the character I'm doing it on is the one that has all 3 gathering. It has archeology, bioanalysis, and scavenging. So my mini map.
You can't move a step without a new node popping up, I'm sure.
No, yeah. And the mini map is just peppered. And so it took me I think it took me an hour to do that chapter because I was like, oh, a piece of candy. Oh, where am I supposed to go?
I have characters that had 3 gathering, and I dropped 1 or 2 of them because I can't.
It's too much.
Because I couldn't get anywhere. I was paralyzed.
It's too much overload.
Piece of candy. Piece of candy.
And then, as you said, MFN was fun. A quick run through Karaga's Palace, a hunt for world bosses, which are real hard to do on Tuesday nights when they're tagged for conquest. So we tried to go find Trapjaw, and he was not up on any of the maps. There were 4 maps open on Tatooine, and he was gone on all of them. So the commanders were gone as well. We wanted to go kill a commander because that was like 5k points or something, I think. But yes, just going and killing guards for a while, and then having players come in there and see us and say hi and mess around with us. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, they were good sports.
Yes, they were. All right, so that's us. Let's get into a little bit of news.
Now, an Imperial News Network report.
Barely any news, so we'll just do a quick run through. The servers did go down on Thursday for update 5.9a, and I noticed they're going to do a 5.9.1, so I guess they could do an infinite number of updates between now and 6.0. 5.9.9.9.9.9.9b. So who knows? But 5.9a was to fix 4 issues. Go look at the patch notes because I'm not going to read the last one in particular because it's a spoiler if you haven't done the story. And I did tweet.
Yeah.
I posted a strongly worded tweet back out at BioWare because they did that. But yeah, it was just bug fixes. Invasion Force bug fix, the daily conquest objectives, resetting when you're logging in other characters. We confirmed tonight that that's fixed. And an issue for certain achievements to randomly reset that was fixed.
Yeah, that's probably the biggest deal.
Yeah.
There's some other bug cleanup going on. A few different bugs, I guess, that Charles Boyd weighed in on. Namely, the one where some people couldn't start the Fallen Empire Chapter 11 disavowed because there's a bug you can't speak to Theron, or he doesn't respond, or he doesn't show up or something. And it's like people were posting workarounds, and it was like, stand here, then turn around here, and then jump up and down, and then back up, and then wash your hair, and then it will work.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully that's fixed or will be fixed soon.
Chime in on those threads if you've got other workarounds or other bugs. It seems like they're doing a little bit of paying attention to that. When's Eric coming back? Anybody know? Anybody know when Eric's back from his nuptials and honeymoon and stuff?
That is a good question because it seems like he's been gone for years now.
It does. Yeah. It seems like he's been gone a long, long time. Guild and community news. Shout out to the Working Class Nerds podcast because it's awesome. Step 1. Step 2, BC did post a public link to his spreadsheet. He posted that in Reddit. I retweeted it on Twitter. It is out there. In addition to being the best place to get that spreadsheet is still in our guild Discord. Come join AIE. Get in the guild.
Yes.
Go into our Discord. It is pinned in the SWTOR
spreadsheet
channel.
Tastes better if you can get it from the pinned link
And then
in our
if there's any
Discord.
updates, that's where they're going to show up first and yada, yada, yada. But it's also out there publicly. So if you ask on Twitter, BC can get it to you. It was posted in Reddit. It's a useful tool, and it will continue to evolve as he puts more information in it. He gave us this big, huge rundown this morning in Discord about here's multiple paths to getting characters to Conquest this week. If you want to do stuff solo, if you want to do stuff in a group, here's sort of like 3 different formulas to take 1, 2, or 3 characters to your Conquest goal this week. So that I really appreciate him doing that. It's pretty awesome. And what about the guild? What's the rest of the stuff? We did Imperial this week. Where are we at next week, Seema?
Next week, we will be focusing our Conquest efforts on the pub side, and also MFN on 522 will be on the pub side. So funny how that works out.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I think that was dense. Woohoo.
Yeah.
Republic week. So we'll see what we do and see what the achievements and objectives are. And if there's like a Gods from the Machine thing, then we could have some lockouts there for you, Dent. We'll see. Otherwise, thank you to the chat room. I'm continuing to play with my setup and reset my audio, and the chat room is always very good about helping me make sure that all works correctly. I don't know if anybody noticed, but my audio was actually messed up last week. No, nobody probably noticed, but a couple of my tracks were merged in ways they shouldn't have been. But we'll survive. And with that, Kim Val, what are we doing this week? What's our Flashpoint run?
Jinasiwe ja alaize nam nadize. Ustaupaim ICJ in alam is frumadine habans.
I wasn't even paying attention. What did Kim Val say? So,
We're going on a
It's
train.
bar.
we're gonna catch it. We're taking the last train to Clarksville, right?
Where's Clarksville?
I don't know, but I'll meet you at the station. Be there by 4:30.
There's only one train that still goes there.
It's the last one. All right, here we're all in a group. I dismissed your companions. So we figured we would do a relatively quick flashpoint, but I also wanted to do Umbara. So I want to continue to do Nathema and Umbara because there's stuff, right? I keep forgetting that there's stuff out of the Umbara vendor. In fact, I want to peek on it real quick before we go in there. That you can get that makes it worthwhile to continue to run Umbara. So while we are talking about our ops stuff, we'll run
in particular?
I do need something in particular, buddy. So yeah, there's all these reusable schematics. So is the currency, the Alliance Recon data, is that legacy bound? Is that legacy currency? Or not?
No, it's
Take
character
it
bound.
easy.
Take it easy. It's
And I think it's the
that's terrible. Is it tokens that end up in your inventory? What Alliance Recon data? I have 12 out of 100,
it goes in under currency, but
but is not legacy
it's
bound.
all character bound.
Well, that's going to be a problem. That's going to leave a mark. So there's that guy who's got the schematics,
Spend away.
and then this one that's got the armor set. You get Iocath recombinators. I got the trader quarters because I unlocked and that's how you get the stronghold. Oh, and what is this guy? A pet, a mount. Oh, cool! It's one of these. It's one of these animal mounts that you show up in the Umbara flashpoint. Cool. All right, so that's the stuff we're gonna get.
Again.
I will stop by again. Thank you. Is this the right place?
Yeah.
All right, we're just going to do story again because we want it super easy mode while we chat. So clicking on story and let's zone in. All right, so let's kick it off while we're jumping in here and clearing trash. I queued up a bunch of questions, but I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say about the current state of ops and that kind of thing. But let's kick it off back at the beginning. Let's start with you, Dent. What made you want to start a Republic ops team on our more imperial leaning guild, and how did you start that up?
Well, I kind of inherited Soldiers of Life from Carly. He was ops leader for a while, and then before him, I think it was Spherix.
Oh, that's right. Did
So
Spherix
I joined up.
or just Corley?
I think so.
Maybe. It's just hard to imagine Eric's leading anything, but yeah, you could be right.
I joined. I think I joined the team back November 2015.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I was running as the off tank, and then Carly took over. I continued to off tank and back him up and help him out with running the team, and then he wanted to take a break, so I took over.
Excellent.
And thank goodness.
So that's our Republic ops team that runs on Sunday night. And what about
Monday.
you? Sorry, Monday. And Sunday night is what is the name of?
So
Trooper?
Sunday night is Death Star Troopers,
Death Star Troopers,
and
that's it.
I got roped into it because somebody said, "Hey, we should do another Republic team. Ops team on a weekend." And I was like, "Oh, that would sound fun." And then I don't remember who it was, and they're like, "Oh, you brought it up. You're the leader." And I said, "No." And yeah, a year later, I'm the leader. But it's been a learning experience because I've only been doing group content for maybe a year and a half, maybe 2 years. So jumping into that is really tough. Um,
So
and then
so you're saying being new to group content and then trying to be an ops leader?
run an ops team, yeah, is
Yeah,
really tough.
I'm very impressed that you were able to pull that off.
And how do you think it's going now? I mean, have you sort of
Well, now we have a solid 8 guys with some alts, but in the beginning it's really tough because you're a new team and people are busy and it's tough to get that consistent amount of people in the op every week. So, but I would say it's an awesome experience and I love it. Actually, Dent is on the Sunday night team, so it's awesome that I have him to lean on when I'm lost and I have no idea what I want to do.
Yeah.
yeah, that's
I've gone through those hard times as well as trying to get someone to fill a role on the last minute or long term.
but
There was a while there begging every week trying to find someone to fill in.
so I guess two
Yep,
things there.
I remember.
There's having like a lieutenant or a second in command. I think that's definitely a best practice. And in fact, having someone who sort of runs the logistics of the team separate from the person who runs like the night and is sort of like the driver of the who's like leading the ops that night, breaking those two roles into between two separate people, I think that is potentially really useful. We've done that sort of with our ops team. Appelis does more of the running of who's gonna, what we're gonna run and who's gonna do it and filling in subs and that kind of thing. And then either Corley, I like mostly Corley is running the night itself and calling out the strats and that kind of thing. And we even do the same sort of thing for mandatory fun night. The people who run the night during the night versus the people who plan it are different, and that helps us to sort of take some of the load off and some of the stress out.
And on Monday night, like I know a lot of the fights, but I'm not strong on them, so a lot of the other members step up and help explain things, help bring us through it. So it's definitely a group effort.
Oh, it definitely is. You count on 7 other people to do something so you can achieve a win.
Yeah.
There's not many things you can do that you can say, even in real life, that you can say you count on 8 people to be able to achieve something.
Now I do
Definitely.
tell me if you guys have run into this. I do know it can be a little bit of a problem to have too many cooks as well. So when you do need to have a strategy, for example, you're trying a thing and you need to do it. If everyone's really comfortable with each other and everybody can just sort of brainstorm and everybody can throw out ideas and everybody can throw out strategies, that's fine. But oftentimes you need just one person to be the last word or the while you could solicit input.
Yeah.
So how does that work out for your guys' teams? I mean, you find the same thing, or is it balanced enough and experienced enough players that you have to do that?
A lot of times that it falls upon like me for on my team, like whoever last say and strategy. I mean, always looking for input from the other members, but if a decision needs to be made, it usually a path to follow, it usually falls to me.
Yeah. Okay.
I can agree to that. Even if I don't know everything, sometimes, I always say too many chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yep.
And sometimes, if there's a discrepancy, somebody has to make that choice, even if it is the wrong one.
On our team,
I mean, I
Seema.
totally agree. As a raid member, I like it better when someone just makes a decision,
Yeah.
makes a call.
On our team, it's Seema will keep us in line if we start screwing up, make the wrong decision. You can make any decision you want as long as it's the one I wanted.
As long as it's yours.
So you said, Dent, you said you're doing hard mode TFB right now, and that's what you're working on?
Yep, we're gonna start doing progression on hard mode TFB.
So how did
So
you
we got
decide to
to
do that?
well, we finished up Isaacs, and it was kind of my plan all along. Like after we got through the new ops and story mode, trying to advance the team and try to push ourselves, because I mean, for the most part, we're all very well geared. We're all veterans doing ops. So I just chose an ops and it's like, all right, let's start working on that one. I got some input from the, the team. There was some, well, we should try doing this one first. And I'm like, all right, do it. So we were to start it. We actually started it the week before, but I had a last minute emergency at work that I had to deal with, so they did story mode on it, and again, having a good team and having people being able to step up, they were able to fill my my role and get something together that night.
So how did you decide on Terra from Beyond, though? I mean, I heard you say that you had feedback from the team, but why did people prefer that one?
I think it was mostly on the first, the Withering Har is supposed to be an easier one to start off with.
Oh, I see. Okay.
On veteran, and in terms of moving into veteran mode content. Yeah. Huh.
I actually have a question for you, Dan. So,
Sure.
do you find it hard to do the veteran mode stuff only doing ops once a week?
No more than any other content.
So
I mean, I know we're limited with time, so, but you just have to accept that, move on, and plus with our team just running on Monday nights, we've tried to pull stuff together during the week, but especially when we're doing Gods from the Machines, it was hard. So
That was really hard.
Yeah, that's the downside of running on Monday night. It's the absolute last chance to do anything.
yeah, and I sort of get what you're asking, Marcus. So we used to do our ops team. This is probably going back a year or two ago now, but it was 2 nights a week. And the real progression groups will even go potentially more than 2 nights a week, because with no, and we've complained about this so many times, but with no lockout extension week to week, you only get done what you get done. And if it takes a long time to get, you wipe a couple times, and even when you start getting the bosses on farm, you're wiping a couple times on the first 2 or 3 bosses, you're leaving yourself only 10 minutes in a reasonable ops night when people got to go to work to do the next boss. It's rough. But we're very strict with our times, our start times and end times for Lords of Light, and we're only running 1 night a week, and we just deal with it and get used to it.
You do what you can.
Yeah, and do what you can. And everybody's sort of.
I mean,
do what you can with the time that you have.
That's right, and it's people. Just where we are in our lives and everything now, people have 1 night a week, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
So it is what it is.
Not that some of us aren't playing games more than 1 night a week, but for each team, we're all doing lots of things. So, yeah, we're all, and I don't really hear anybody complain. Have either of you had anyone on your team saying, I really wish we could do more, or have anyone leave to go join a more hardcore team? Because we've had that in the past, and that's perfectly fine.
I haven't had anyone leave to join other hardcore teams that I know of.
I find that most of the time people leave because their lives change or their jobs change where they have to get up at 5 in the morning or something like that where they can't do it at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
And overall, the key thing is everyone if you're not having fun, that's why we're playing this is to have fun.
Right.
Then
That is true.
so
That's a
And
very good perspective.
the other thing for me and what I like about doing one night a week is that there is no deadline. None of this, it's not like in 3 months something's going to happen to make us want to do some other content. I'm trying to say this nicely. But yeah, so it's like this is the content we're going to have for a while, so we don't need to burn through it.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to kill all these guys. Yeah, yeah, we can relax and take our time because it's not going anywhere.
Well, the that brings me to my question of, that's why I really liked the Gods from the Machine release program, how we got a boss at a time because you could work on that boss, enjoy that fight, do it, and then be able to go into something else in that same day. And if you wanted to go kill, I'm going to give the example of Tithe or the aunties or whoever and give them a good job interview, then once you complete that, you could go start a hard mode something. Because I remember you guys, Max and Seema, you guys saying that you did that on your team. You would kill the boss, and then you guys would go to Dread Palace, or I
Yeah.
think that's what you were doing for a while. And you would do the hard mode. And yeah, you don't get to finish it, but you get to try the harder content, get that going at the same time.
Yeah, and you get you're right. It gives you a chance to give some variety.
yeah, it's like the nights you run KP or Eternity Vote, you jump down to and do tomorrow's.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
and I mean that's a good point to remind people of. That's a highlight I think in SWTOR and other games that have a similar mechanic where there's lair bosses like that. A single boss fight that you can go and do. Don't underestimate. I think we're not supposed to kill the ads. It enrages the boss, but I just killed him. Yeah, that's a great bit of content to add on or do in spare time or that kind of thing. So I really like having those available. In fact, that makes me want to go do the World Breaker Colossal Monolith fight.
Yeah, we're just thinking that.
Because that's
I haven't.
a good one of those.
I've only attempted that. I've never got that one under my belt yet.
Yeah, me neither.
I asked this question, we talked about it a little bit, but subs and how you get subs and what you do. Obviously, us having AIE to draw on and a lot of people that are willing to help is really good. But do either of you do anything else special to sub in players? And do you have just 8 people on your team, and how does that work and that kind of thing? Explain that to me. Who wants to go first?
I have the I have the core 8 people right now that's really stable. It's really nice to have that. But there are a bunch of that's one of the things that's kind of important being the ops leader is to build yourself a bench, have a bunch of bench players that can fill roles that you need filled on a notice.
Yeah.
Just mandatory fun night. Like people ask if there are any openings, and I'm like, no, not right now. But if there's an opening on one night, you can jump in. And we've had a couple of I think I've had 2 or 3 players fill in just that haven't done the content before, and we've pulled them through, taught them the fights, and they get the taste for it.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
I like hearing that.
Yeah, that's awesome to do that too, to take the time to show new players content. That's one of my favorite things to do, and I really appreciate when other people do it too. How about you, Marcus?
Well, I mean, everyone has to start there at some point.
Yeah.
So.
And that's how you get more
I was
players,
there.
and that's how you get a bench. You don't get a bench and you don't get more players unless you help make more players. So that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly.
How's your team work, Marcus, with alts and that kind of thing?
So it took, because we were the new team, it took us, I would say, it probably took me 2 months to fill the team. I mean, we had an original 8, and then a couple people left, and then it took some serious time to fill that roles because you're a new team, and you know people are unsure if you're going to stick around and all that. So for the first couple months, it was tough. I mean, I was asking a lot of people, but now that we've been around, and I want to say seasoned,
Yes.
and it's a lot easier to fill a role. And like Dent said, you meet people by doing ops because this one's friend or that one's friend, runs with them on a different team, and then you need to fill in, and next thing you know, you have a great, backup tank or a backup healer that you can count on that can really fill in when you need it.
Or
But I'm
even
very
within your
blessed.
own, yeah, and even within your own team, you have players that can fill whatever role you need. You
Oh,
have DPS that can field healers. You have healers that can. You have tanks that can field DPS, and so on and so forth.
I was just going to say that the perfect example is Dent on Sunday nights with the Death Star Troopers with me. He's DPS, but sometimes if, you know, one of our members hurt his hand, and when he hurt his hand, Dent just filled right into the tank because it's a lot easier to, sometimes fill a DPS role than a tank role. And it works out great. And you really rely on everybody. But the biggest thing I want to always tip my hat to everybody about is our team members show up every week, and when they miss, it like breaks our heart to have to miss for the team. It's crazy to me because there's not that much camaraderie anymore,
In the world, you
and
mean?
the camaraderie on our teams is awesome, huh?
Yeah. Yeah. It is a lot, and everyone, and maybe that's just part of the culture of our guild too. Everyone's really considerate when they're going to go out of town or they're not going to be around. I mean, I have people weekly that tell me, "Oh, sorry, I'm not going to be there on Tuesday for mandatory fun night," which is an open random pug thing. And people are like telling me in advance when they can't be there. But yeah, our teams are pretty good about that. I have noticed that, and I do really appreciate that.
The
It's. I mean, I like running with all the other teams as well, like filling in where I can, because everyone is. It's good people.
It's also interesting to see other teams and how they handle the fights and the bosses and the operations.
Yeah, there are differences
Oh,
for sure.
and I've used what I've learned from other teams to do certain fights. Um, it does make it helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's always good
but
too.
the
The sort of the sharing.
but the absolute favorite part is when you win and you win, and the whole team, you can hear everybody through the mic. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Especially something that you've been struggling with.
yeah.
Yep.
It's
For weeks. I forget what it was. I think it was Nahut. I remember Dent and I were trying to run with every single team possible to try to figure that fight out. And
oh yeah.
I remember when I first beat him with the team, I jumped up out of the chair, the dog barked, you know, I got up to my bedroom and my wife wasn't too happy with me because,
You woke up the whole
because I woke
house
up the
and
whole house. Yeah, well, I didn't care. She doesn't get it.
yeah, exactly. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I agree. Those are some of the best gaming memories. Is yeah, when it comes down to the wire and it's late at night and you've been trying and you finally kill that new boss of whatever boss at whatever level. That is pretty amazing.
Right. Let me ask you, Max and Seema, what is your biggest high in your ops? And what was the worst moment for you in your ops?
Seema, you want to go first? I have a couple in mind.
Those are tough questions. Um, well, I have to say that when I first started doing ops in SWTOR, which was back when the game was brand new, I was so floored by Eternity Vault. I thought that was just the coolest instance. I love the fact that after wipe, you would ride this speeder that would just take you through, and you would see the sights that you don't normally see when you're just walking on the ground. And I, because of that, Eternity Vault still has a special place in my heart. I love that
Right. Yeah,
operation.
going through that the first time when it was just released, that was, yeah.
And the
And I was
pylons
just
and
learning how to sage, and I was playing with people I didn't know, but they were, awesome people. And yeah, it was just that was really a high.
the first time you get Soa down, because you finally
Yeah,
jumped up and down
Hmm.
all of those.
right.
Because
You figured out where that those blocks are gonna drop.
yeah, and because learning that fight was difficult, because again, it's three stages and three tiers, and it's a surprise once you get to each next tier, and then you die, and then you gotta go back, and you gotta do the whole thing again. You gotta jump down, and somebody gets lost and flying in the air at the wrong time. They're on the wrong side, but yeah. So that was really cool, and you're right. That is a spectacular operation. I like the one-on-one council fight. I thought that was a really
Yep,
interesting
Yep.
twist.
yep.
I like the
That is a really interesting twist on the whole, everyone has to do it right or you wipe
right,
thing.
right. Um, I liked the pylons and having like sort of a puzzle to solve in the middle of the operation, and that sort of be the boss fight, and then a nice good big boss at the end. And of course, dogs to knock off the cliff when we used to be able to do that. That was all I liked.
And don't forget Garge.
And Garge, yes. Oh, Garge. I still like Garge. Garge is one of my favorite. Garge, whose claws scored the canals of Salot. Garge, who drank the last of the milk and put the milk carton back in the fridge. Garge. Yeah.
And
Yeah, I love that opera. I mean, I also love Terror from Beyond. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Yeah. But yeah, so
And
that's a highlight.
yeah,
Lowlights, Seema. Every time we have to do the first
yeah,
boss in
exactly.
KP.
Yes.
Anything to do with the Rancor.
Yeah, anything to do with the Rancor. I don't like that fight. I don't like that fight because it's designed, well, it's designed around something that the UI just won't do. Like I cannot, as a healer, keep the boss targeted so that I can see if he's targeting me,
Mm-hmm.
because I can put the boss on focus, which I do, but you cannot see the target
Target
of
or
your
focus
focus target.
Yeah.
Right. So that fight always ticked me off from the beginning because I felt like it was it was like they had designed it without thinking of healers, which that is never feels good to me.
And there's so much random damage too, and then random spiky
Yeah.
damage. So you're like, I know that kind of fight as a healer. You're staring at the ops frame and you're wondering where it's going to go next, and you're scrambling and playing like whack-a-mole while you can't. Yeah.
I mean, now I can tell when I'm targeted just by his body language, right? But
Yeah.
back in the day, I would always have I was flipping, target him, target the people, target him, target, because we don't have mouse overs, we don't have mouse over abilities, and the UI is just missing some things that fight
R-
is based on.
Right.
So it always ticked me off that fight. And then the other Rancor fight that sometimes I complain about is Grobthok in Dread Fortress, just because it's long and boring, but there's a lot of damage, so I have to pay attention.
And you're the only one who
Or there
does.
can be.
Other tanks sort of do. No, really, because I mean DPS, you just sort of stand in the middle. Well, you get out of the flava, but the DPS, it's fun for DPS because it's a high high damage, high solid rotation fight where you can unload your full rotation. You don't have to be moving all that much. You just step out of lava once in a while, and you can get some of your highest operation boss DPS on that fight. But yeah, I think when we were doing hard mode progression on Dread Fortress and we're crashing up against Corruptor Zero, that was that was soul crushing for quite a while.
I like that fight though.
It's still good. It's still a good fight, and it's a good operation. But we, you talk about progression and what progression really means on hard content. We did it for a while. We did 2 nights a week, and we were on Corruptor Zero for at least 6 weeks before we killed him. And then we killed him, and then there was something that happened, and we all went on. It was like over the holidays, and we went on vacation. We came back, and we couldn't kill him again. And it sort of
something changed. I forget what it was, but yeah.
Oh, something else. Maybe there was like a nerf or something. Yeah, that was tough.
But we also, I think we could have gotten Corruptor Zero down. We just weren't using the right strategy, but it was the strategy that our raid leaders at the time wanted to do.
Yeah, well, yeah. There's also only one cook, and he's burning the food every week. is also non-optimal.
But I also, I know that was soul crushing for people, but I like that fight, and I like Dread Fortress pretty much.
Yeah.
But then I like the contrast with Terra from Beyond. This is becoming the what SEMA likes and dislikes show, but I like the contrast between TFB being sort of more like the science fiction side, and Dread Fortress and Dead Palace being more like the ghosty fantasy side of Star Wars.
Right. I agree. That is a good representation of both of those sides, which makes both of those really fun. So I think people have heard me say multiple times that Terra from Beyond is my favorite from an art and design perspective, because I do really like I can get really cool fantasy environments in other games, but rarely can I get as cool or as interesting a design of a sci-fi environment as I think Terra from Beyond is. I like the whole Tron thing. I like when you go into the machine and you sort of you digitized inside of the core fight.
Get sucked into the Matrix.
And I like.
Operator 9. That's another great fight. I love that fight.
Yeah, exactly, that one. So yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, we are closing in here on the end of our run. If for people that are watching the stream, I am in the stronghold that you get from Umbara in the train, and this is my party car in the middle of the train. These decorations came from the Nar Shaddaa Nightlife event, which is coming back this summer. You too can get these dance floors probably again this year, which are super cool. You click on them and you do any dance in the game, whether you have it unlocked or not. But anyway, to wrap it up, maybe we go around. You asked us, Marcus, what our favorite memories and moments are from Ops. How about you? What's yours favorite, Marcus? And then we'll do you, Dent.
I have 2.
Cool.
So for just Ops in general, so I'm going to say his name, but Arv really showed me how to do Ops and took me on the team. And I would say my most favorite memory of all time was the first time I ever went, and we did EV, because I think that's like the first one you always do with a new guy, just to see what is what, I guess I could say. And when we beat that, I think I had a smile on my face for 3 days. And you try to explain to these people at work that are, tradesmen like myself, and they don't understand. They're like, what did you do? And you try to explain it, and they just don't get it, but they're like, all right, man, whatever. But I would say beating EV for the first time is probably up there. And then for my own team, I would say my most fond memory was beating Isaac's, because we worked so hard to do it.
Yeah.
And to
that was
take
quite
him
a
down.
challenge.
Yeah. And it takes everybody to do it.
That fight alone, just it's 20 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Of just doing that, and if you wipe, it's like, oh.
Yeah, now to me that's soul crushing.
Yeah.
And it being very cruel at the end, especially the first couple times.
It could still wipe.
The last 3 seconds of the fight, bad things happen and you can die, and you wasted 20 minutes. Matt Pusevich, curse you, Matt Pusevich, and awesome job, Matt Pusevich.
Right. We love you, but we also curse you.
Why?
Why, oh, why?
So how about you, Dent?
So those are my.
So I think one of my favorite parts or memories of doing ops is actually a mistake that happened. We were doing EV, and it's easy it's supposed to be some of the easier content, and I think we were doing it on vet mode, and we just, for whatever reason, we couldn't get that first boss down. And then on the comms, Zen goes, Dent, are you wearing any gear?
The downside of the outfit system.
Right, exactly. And it's like, it's one of those things, like, just own it and become the adjective. Yep, I pulled a dent.
Yeah.
You know that's now going to be a thing, because now every time something happens, it's no longer it's the Marauder, it's we're pulling a dent.
Well, yeah.
No, it's moved on because I did it recently, and Zen was
Yeah,
his...
Zen did the following week, and it was like, oh, you pulled a SEMA.
Yep.
I think Max was the original one to do that, though.
No, I don't know what you're talking about. But and it's awesome, and that's also really an awesome thing about all you guys and our groups is when those things happen, when those bad things happen, there's no blame. And in fact, if something happens like that and it kills everybody in the group, we only laugh harder because
Yeah.
No, yeah.
because it's our own
That's so
personal
true.
hard mode that we make for ourselves, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, right.
We just say, oh, it makes it scarier, so we like to do that. People come in and go, well, why don't you do this? It makes the fight a whole bunch easier. And we go, oh yeah, well, because we like it hard. We like it scary.
We like making things difficult.
Yeah. All right.
So can I say one more thing?
Yeah, sure can.
Absolutely.
So anybody listening to this, anybody, if you guys want to do an op, message any of us, please, because there's always room. People always miss, and
Yeah.
we would love to have you come run with us, because I'm going to tell you right now, you'll be hooked the same way I was that first time I went to EV.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's, really that's why we do the podcast too, to get more people to come do stuff with us, come play SWTOR and do ops. AIE-guild.org. Thumbs up. Real quick, as we wrap up here, Dent, if people do want to come check out your ops team, sub in on a spot, how can they find you?
Probably the easiest way for that is to reach me on Discord. I'm Dent in Discord.
Guild Discord, AIE-guild.org, link at the top. And Marcus, if people want to hear stories about the things you do in Star Wars and find more information about you and your ops teams, where can they find that?
So you can message me on Twitter. It's at MarcusB814, or on Discord, I'm just Marcus B. And then our podcast is Working Class Nerds, and you can find that on, I think, most of the podcast formats.
Excellent.
Now that we've gotten on them. So
Cool.
come find us.
Cool. And obviously, as we say every week, you can find us, Seema and I, at Max Theory and at AIE SEMA. And as we said, if you need guild information, find out where to find us. Have anybody that you want to point in our direction. This podcast is Tuesday nights, twitch.tv/New Overlords, or on YouTube. It's also there. Go check it out there and subscribe. You can find our guild on Starforge, and our guild website is aie-guild.org, with information at the top on getting on our Discord, coming and saying hi, and getting a guild invite. And we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.
Laters.
See ya.